All right, it is always a pleasure to have my next guest on the show, Tom Pagliarulo, who will be fighting next for CES on August the 6th when he meets Josh Hardy. Tom, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's nice to talk to you again. And wow, you really made quite an impression with your pro debut victory over Shawn Stefanelli, a round three corner stoppage. You look dominant in that fight, man. I got to imagine your coaches, Tyson, everyone's got to be pretty happy with that outcome.
Yeah, I think it went exactly how we wanted it to go, especially being short notice like that. We got that call on like a Sunday night. They asked if we wanted to take that fight on Thursday. The weight was good. I hadn't stopped training, so you're like, you know what? These opportunities are slim right now because of the pandemic. So we jumped on it, and yeah, I felt confident, man. Enemy territory. I was used to that from all the fights in Maine and NEF and stuff. So I just went in there, had some fun, did my thing, stayed patient, got adjusted to those 5-minute rounds, and I love having the extra 2 minutes in there, a lot more time to work, and just waited for the finish to come. Didn't look for it, just let it come to me, and then I did my thing, and it ended up being a corner stoppage, which I'd never seen before or done before. So it was cool. It was a cool experience.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, did you guys have a specific game plan for this fight, or were you basically just going to go in there, just do what you do, and just see, how the fight plays out?
Yeah, we definitely do our homework before we get into any fight. Tyson, Rob, Calvin looked into it, looked at the kid's film, and we knew he was a wrestler, short, stocky kid. So it's pretty much just making sure we're stopping the takedowns, staying long, and really that knee was a big part of the game plan. Catch him coming down the middle with that knee. He dips a lot when on his defense and then on those takedowns. So we try not to go too crazy, especially at this level. On the regional level, it's kind of Rob taught me, you go in there and just camps are based around getting better at everything. So that's kind of what we've been doing and stuck to that in that fight, is just getting better personally. And then once you get to the UFC, that's when you really start picking apart your opponents and diving into that.
I think anyone that's been following your career here in New England has been anticipating you turning pro for a while now, right? Because you've looked really well, here beating a lot of people regionally, winning belts. Did you feel more pressure going into that fight? Like, did you feel it at all, or did you feel like, you know what, I'm ready, like this is my time, and you just went on, you were calm, cool, and collected?
Yeah, I'm aware of the expectations that are set for me and the pressure that's supposed to be there. But I love it, man. Give me more of it. I love having that feeling. I think about it when I'm training. It pushes me harder. But I don't. It never really derails me. When I'm in there, I'm not thinking about the pressure that's on me back home. It's just going in there and doing my thing. I feel the same way every time I enter that cage, from amateur or pro. I noticed it was the same mindset. It was, I'm gonna go in here, have fun, and do my thing. And I know when I'm having fun and making them fight my fight, I can do that all night and be the best fighter in the world when I'm doing that.
So before you accepted that fight for CFFC and you made your pro debut, when did Tyson and Rob and your whole team, when did you guys know that, all right, no, the amateur career, I'm done with that, I'm turning pro? Have you guys known for a while now?
Yeah, we were kind of looking right as I got out of college to make that pro debut, and the pandemic hit, so it got delayed a little bit. So at that point, it was just, let's just wait on an opportunity to come. Tyson sent my name into everyone, LFA, CES, like pretty much Bellator, every promotion we could. But it was just tough to get anything during the pandemic because they were only really giving the local guys or contracted guys fights. So being a guy looking to make his pro debut during the pandemic was tough. But I think everything happens for a reason. Had I taken that pro debut fight a year sooner, would I have looked as good as I did? So the team motto is control what we can, and that's all we can do. And we showed up and we trained every day and just stayed ready for an opportunity, and it came knocking.
Last time I saw you fight in person, you beat Jimmy Jackson up here in Orono, Maine. I know this is kind of an obvious answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Like, how much better are you now versus the Tom Pagliarulo that we saw fight then?
Yeah, it's an amateur and a pro, I guess, is the difference now. That was the first fight where I really felt comfortable. I don't even want to say comfortable because it was still a little off, but standing, letting my hands go, not really looking to ride the guy out on the ground and take him down and finish him there. It was like, all right, I'm gonna let my hands go with this guy and see what I can do. And I got that doctor's stoppage there. And then after that, you know, I got a little more comfortable. And even from my last fight, I feel like a completely different fighter. You know, I'm a guy who goes back and picks myself apart after every fight and wants to get right back in the gym and improve on the little holes I saw. So, man, from that fight to now is a whole different person, maturity wise, skill set wise, and then you know, even from my last one, it's the same thing. I just feel so much better in a couple months.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, I haven't spoken to you for a while now. So, how difficult was it for you to get the work in that you needed to during the pandemic? Because I know it affected everyone a little bit differently. Just run me through, I guess, what your day to day was like during that whole crazy year.
Yeah. You know, things for me honestly didn't change that much. I think they got better. We really tightened things up with the team. We cut down on the numbers, going to the other gyms, and Calvin was still fighting that whole time during the pandemic. He had 3 fights during that. So, yeah, 3 fights. So it was just helping him as much as I can. I was doing camp with him pretty much, training like I had a fight when I didn't. And it kind of just made us all a little closer. And then Rob ended up getting a little spot in Lawrence, Massachusetts, kind of like the cartel headquarters. So we have our own spot now. We've been putting in a ton of work there. So honestly, my training got better throughout the pandemic, which I'm super fortunate for. So it definitely helped when that opportunity came to fight.
Very good. Now, I know you're all in, man, on making this your career, your life, and the UFC championship. You know, that's the goal, right? Tell me, how are you balancing everything outside of training and just your personal life? I saw recently on Instagram you were at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway having a little bit of fun. So, like, what are you doing to kind of get your mind off of all the grueling work you do in camp?
Yeah. I try and that's one of the big things Tyson's huge on me about is finding a little more balance in my life, because I'm one of those guys who, when I get dialed in, I'm dialed in, I'm locked in, and it's being able to turn that switch off sometimes. You know, you can't just be locked in 24/7. It's being able to be locked in at that training session and then turn that off and be a normal human. But I'm doing well with it, man. You know, I think right after I met Rob and we were getting ready for that Jimmy Jackson fight, I had quit my job and I decided, you know, I can't do both the way I want to do it. You know what I mean? You can work and fight, but I know I won't reach my 100% potential. So I quit my job. I teach private lessons to bring in some form of income, and I got a great support system between my family and my girlfriend's family. And they just make sure I can chase this thing down and do it like a real professional. So it's training every day, twice a day. In between, I'll sneak a couple privates in, and then on the weekends, you know, we spar on Saturday, and then it's kind of just chilling after that, making sure I'm keeping my mind on other things too. Chilling with my group of friends, being with the team, and that's really it, man. My life is just I eat, breathe, and sleep fighting.
Yeah, so I know you're watching fighting, so I got to get your take on the trilogy between Conor and Dustin. Obviously, it's a huge story in this sport, and no one really wanted to see it end like that with Conor injuring himself. But it didn't look like it was really going his way at all in that first round. I guess my question is, do you feel like we're going to see Conor McGregor get back to a championship level where maybe he can win a belt, or are those days behind him?
Yeah, it's tough, man. Especially with an injury like that. Um, he's got a lot of money. And, he's done his thing in the sport. So when you got money like that coming in, it's kind of do I want to do this? I don't need to do this anymore. And that's one of the things I admire Poirier about is he never lost that drive, even after these big fights, these big paydays. He's in there because he's a fighter, and that's just what he does. He still lives that life like he's that broke Louisiana kid who needs these fights to live, and he brings that in the cage. And you see that in the fight, the two of them, the mentality, the attitude. You know, Conor, he flip-flop between talking trash, not talking trash. I think he's confused with where he's at. You know what I mean? He's trying to force one instead of letting it be natural. When he was coming up in that featherweight division, that attitude he'd bring, that confidence, that was natural. That was who he was. Now it's starting to be a little forced because I feel like he's losing that edge, that competitive edge, and the want to be in there. But with that said, he's still a world-class athlete and he's a world-class fighter. So I think if he can tweak a few things, man, anyone can at that level can get back and be a world championship fighter. Especially when you're slinging fists with little 4-ounce gloves, anything can happen. That guy's got power in both hands. So we'll see. It's interesting for him now. He's definitely still going to have a big draw. I don't think his stock's going down at all. People are going to tune in anytime that guy fights. So I think it's up to management, get him the right fights, build him back a little bit, accept the fact that you're going to maybe have to be on like a fight night main event, not these big pay-per-views, and just build yourself up. But that's on him to want to do that. You know what I mean? To take that step back in notoriety and actually build himself up. So I'm interested to see.
Great analysis, man. You ever thought about, maybe having a career behind the desk for the UFC when that time comes?
That's the plan. That's the plan, man. I have to drive to get to the UFC is also to set myself up after. They give a lot of the fighters jobs on that commentary booth. I got that communications degree in my back pocket, so we'll see someday. That'd be fun to do.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. Now, I got to ask you, obviously, about Rob and Calvin. I want to start with Calvin. We haven't seen him for a while. Obviously, that tough fight with Max Holloway. Where's his mindset at right now? How's he feeling, and when can we expect to see him back in there?
His mindset is, I'm going to kill anyone who steps in that cage with me when I get back in there. He's hungry, man. He's hungry. He'd be fighting next weekend if we let him. You know what I mean? But we eased him back in. Tyson did a real good job of monitoring, even though his suspension was up a lot sooner. Tyson said, no, we're going to approach it this way, and we're going to commit to that plan. And he just started getting back into like full contact like last weekend. So I think we're looking at October for him, or that could fall into November, December. But definitely, I know they're hoping for like an October return, and then go from there. He's got options.
How's he looking, man? I got to imagine he's probably angry, wanting to get back in there and get a win.
Yeah, we're all super competitive at that team. None of us like sitting on an L. But we're also smart. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's not training like an idiot. He's not going to go in there and fight like an idiot because he's mad because he lost a fight. You know what I mean? He's sharpening the skills that need to be sharpened. And when you lose a fight like that, things need to change. You know what I mean? So it's on the team to figure out, okay, what do we do different now? And I think we're all doing a great job with that. And he's just adding to the game. He looks sharp as ever. And now it's just getting him back into that full camp mentality, turning up the intensity and getting ready to compete with the best guys in the world.
Yeah, can't wait to see him back in there. And Rob Font, holy cow, man, that guy's an absolute animal. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if he's the champion here soon. I mean, that performance against Cody Garbrandt was unreal. He just completely outclassed him and looked like he could have had the fight finished a number of different times. When do you expect Rob to be fighting next? I know I haven't seen a fight announcement, but I got to imagine it's going to be before the end of 2021. Yeah,
he's in a tough spot. He's number 3 in the world. He's coming off a huge win. But then we got this whole tie up with the title where you have Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan, who obviously got to run that back. And then you have Corey Sandhagen and TJ Dillashaw. I know Sandhagen said he'd fight Rob if he beats TJ, and that's what they need to do to really have a clear-cut picture for the bantamweight division. I know Rob would love that fight. He'd love the TJ fight if TJ wins. And you got a little Sean O'Malley running his mouth. So there's options, I wouldn't say that's going to happen, but I wouldn't count it out. You know what I mean? It's a good payday. I think Rob smashes the kid. I know he smashes the kid. I don't think he does. I think Sandhagen's the toughest fight in that division. I think he's going to run through TJ, to be honest with you, this weekend. I think he's just going to put on a clinic with him, and then we'll see what happens, man. I know he's itching to get back in there. Maybe we get a Calvin K to Rob Font return on the same card, and we got a clearer picture for that bantamweight division.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I can't wait for the main event for this Saturday between TJ and Sandhagen. I'm not sure what to think, man. I mean, I don't know really what the whole deal was with TJ and testing positive. I don't know how it helped him, but we're going to find out come fight night, because back in his heyday, man, he was the real deal. So I'm excited for this one. As far as Sean O'Malley goes and, that fight, I really anticipated him. I'm just going to be brutally honest. I thought he was going to finish Chris Moutinho, but man, I'm happy he didn't, because I'm always rooting for New England guys, and I was pulling for Motino in that fight. My God, the heart on that kid is insane. Do you ever train with him? Because he's from around the area. Have you ever crossed paths with him at all?
Yeah. Last time I trained with Chris was before the pandemic. We'd spar at Lozon's together and stuff. And yeah, man, the kid's a gangster. The way he fought that's just him. That's how he spars. You know what I mean? He just comes forward and he's down for the fight. You're not gonna crack that kid and get a oh shit look on his face. He's gonna bite down. He's gonna keep coming forward. And I think obviously you don't go into the fight thinking, you know, this is a best case scenario already. I'm in the UFC. Even if I lose, I know his mentality is, no, I still got to win this fight. That's the best case scenario. But with that being said, I think it went as well as it possibly could for not winning the fight. You know what I mean? His stock's gone up. He's 160,000 followers or something on Instagram, and he had like 1,100 before the fight. I know Tyson said he's got all kinds of sponsorship deals coming in now, and he got that fight of the night bonus. So I'm happy for the kid, man. He's been grinding it out on the local scene for a while. I feel like he's a kid who didn't get the attention he deserved, and now he's just living it. It's cool to see a guy like that get that kind of attention. I was watching Chris before, like when I was coming up through the amateurs and stuff, and I loved his style. He's a gangster. He loves to fight. He loves to make it dirty and do his thing, and it's cool to see that on a Conor McGregor pay-per-view.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm super happy for him too, man. I'm really glad that things worked out the way that it did. And, he's going to be able to really make a name for himself here moving forward. All right, man, let's talk about you. This fight here, again, it's going to be on UFC Fight Pass. CES, I think it goes without saying they're the biggest promotion in New England right now. And it's a big platform fighting on UFC Fight Pass. So this fight will be at featherweight, which is your weight class. What's the weight at right now? I know we're a little ways out, but are you close?
I'm good, man. Yeah, my weight's in a good spot. I'm not huge for the weight. I'm tall, I'm long, but I don't ever really get above 165. I'm good. I'm within striking distance. We'll put it that. I feel great. It's gonna come right off when it needs to. And I'm the strongest I've ever been. I've put on a ton of muscle mass since my amateur career. That's really been one of the big focuses, is trying to put on size for this weight class. And but I'm also the leanest I've ever been right now because we're training so much. So I'm in a good spot. I like to be in a spot where I can get those short notice calls and be ready to jump on them, not have to turn it down because I'm being a lazy bum on the couch and being fat and heavy and can't make the weight. So I don't ever want to have to use that as an excuse.
I'm excited to see you back in there, man. As far as this camp goes, I think it's safe to say every camp with the people you have around you is going to be fantastic, obviously with a great coach like Tyson and then partners like Calvin and Rob. How has it been thus far? How are you feeling, and what do you have left to accomplish before the fight night?
Yeah, camp's been great, man. It's kind of felt like a forever camp. I've had a ton of different dates thrown at me the past couple of months before CES. I think like 5 to be exact. So I was staying ready for all these different dates. I didn't know if I was fighting back in Philadelphia or New England. So I've been kind of just put on the gas since my last fight. I think I took maybe like a week off after that one. I had a little nagging injuries I had to let heal, and then got right back to it. So it's been a long camp, but it's been a good camp, man. I'm sharp. I feel better than ever. And like I said, we're a small, tight team. When one of us is in camp, it's all about that person. Even Rob and Calvin treat it that way. I'm all in for them. Our teammate and jiu-jitsu coach, Nick Fiore, he's all in for them when they're in camp. And now they're doing the same thing for us. They're at every session. They're putting in the extra work with us. They're at all our sparring sessions, coaching us and doing everything they can to make sure we're ready on August 6th. So, yeah, pretty much now it's a little under 3 weeks out. It's just staying consistent, maintaining where we're at. You're not going to make huge leaps in 2.5 weeks. So it's about kind of maintaining where we're at, keeping up with the weight, and then just being ready for fight night, man.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm just going off of what I've seen in my research for this interview. So your opponent, Josh Hardy, he's making his pro debut. As an amateur, he was 5-4. So I think it's safe to say that you're a huge favorite in this fight. You're supposed to win. Does that make you any more tense or nervous to go in there? Or do you just feel like, it doesn't matter whether it's someone that you could be going up against them and you're an underdog? It just doesn't matter. You're just going to go in there and do your thing.
Yeah. I bring the same approach to any opponent, and it's going to be the same thing when I'm in the UFC and fighting the best guys in the world. I treat them all right now like they're the best guys in the world. Josh Hardy is being prepared for like he's the featherweight world champion. I'm going in there to take that spot from him. And I think that shows in my fights. I think that's why you see these big exponential leaps in skill and in between my fights, because of the way I approach the game. And that's just treating everyone like they're the best in the world. Because if you start sleeping on these guys, you know, like I said, we're in there slinging fists with 4-ounce gloves. Anyone can win a fight with 4-ounce gloves on. You know what I mean? So no, I'm treating him like he's the real deal, and he's another path in the way of my another roadblock in the way of my path to the UFC. So I got to go in there and do my thing, man. I'm going in there and I'm getting a finish and showing why I'm the next big thing coming out of New England.
Stylistically, what do you know about Josh? Like, what kind of a fighter is he?
From what I've seen, man, I know he's got a little wrestling background. He's athletic, you know. He comes in, he likes to throw a lot of wild jumping kicks, spinning kicks, head kicks, stuff like that. But I don't think he's fought anyone like me. I know he hasn't fought anyone like me, and he's got to be careful. He's got to be careful with throwing that wild stuff with me, man, because I'll make you pay for it. This is the pros now. We're not just in there trying things and throwing things to see if they work. We're in there. It's calculated. You know what I mean? I'm going to set traps. I'm going to make you fall for them. I'm going to make you pay. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I hope he's a gamer. I hope he likes to throw down. I don't really know much about the kid until I got this fight. I know he's had a couple no-shows at some fights. I saw that on his Tapology page. So I hope the kid shows up, man. You know, if he's watching this, I hope you're in the pros now, man. This is the real deal. So I think the first thing he's got to handle is showing up and making sure he wants to actually do this thing.
Well, it's going to be a great card. CES 63 on August the 6th. You got former heavyweight, UFC heavyweight Jorgen De Castro headlining the card against Rakim Cleveland. Are you expecting a lot of people down there to support you come fight night?
Man, I sold out of my tickets in I think like 5 or 6 hours when I posted I had them. So I asked for 100 tickets. You know, I knew it was in Springfield, a little bit of a drive. I think I could have doubled that, to be honest. I'm still getting people messaging me. But you know, it's kind of nice to not have, I like to get that stuff all done early and then not have to stress it and worry about selling tickets close to the fight. So, but yeah, I got a big crowd coming. My teammate Nick Fiori's on the card. I think they kind of put our sections together. He's going to sell a ton of tickets too. So it's going to be loud, man. We're both exciting fighters. We both are always looking for the kill, and I'm looking forward to fight in front of the home crowd again. You know, I've been the enemy of past few fights, so I'm pumped to finally be fighting in front of my people.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Again, August the 6th, CES 63, Tom Pagliarulo, Josh Hardy in a featherweight bout. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, my man. Best of skill come fight night. Before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media, and if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah, if you're looking to follow my career, you can follow me on Instagram. It's just @TomPags. I'm on Twitter now, @TomPagsMMA. Trying to grow that a little bit more. Facebook's just my name. And yeah, I'll see everyone on fight night. Thank you to my family, my girlfriend, my team, and everyone who's supported me to this point. And we got a long road ahead of us. So I'm looking forward to keeping the ball rolling on August 6th.